Hello and welcome to another segment of our Faith and Whatever, episode 14.
Wow.
Yeah,
14.
that's pretty cool. That's more than shows get on Netflix. They get like 12 or 13 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, we've beat a lot of television shows out.
That's true.
Yeah.
Firefly being one of them.
Although that one's maybe a lot better than our show.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if Netflix wants to pick up a TV version of our podcast, I think maybe we'd be open for that.
We are totally open to sell out. 100%.
Sell out. Yeah.
100%.
I wonder who would
It's
play
not
Chris.
selling out, it's buying in.
So for our pop topic today,
Topic.
pop topic,
Topic.
we are talking about product fails.
Oh.
Products that probably cost tons of money to get released and marketing, and the businesses did their due diligence, but the products just flopped. We're going to talk about them and see why it is that we think they didn't do very well and see if we've tried them. The first one, the only person in this room that could possibly have tried this is Chris Carmen, because he is immortal, the 1957 Ford Edsel. I don't know the hate about it.
Before we get too far, are you taking this from an article that you want to credit?
Yeah, this is from Business Insiders, written by Drake Bayer and Jay Yarrow. Thanks for making me being our bearer of keeping us above board here.
Yeah. He's our ethics board.
The 1957 Ford Edsel, a very
It's about ethics and podcasts.
that's right. You come here for authenticity, but also to know we are morally straight. Okay, the Ford Edsel is a very famously failed product. I'm just going to go from memory. Edsel was Ford's daughter's name. I do know that, right? This was supposed to be a very beautiful Ford. Okay. So a lot of people had thought that in the late 50s, cars have gotten away from being beautiful. The 30s and 40s were not even arguably the most beautiful time for cars. Some of the most beautiful cars in the world were French cars from the 30s, coach-built cars, Delahaye's, Tabelagos, things like that, Duesenbergs in America. But then we were already mass-producing cars. But then in the 50s, we started realizing that the average person could easily afford a car, maybe even two cars. Whoa. And so Ford wanted to come out with a car that could compete with the cars that were designed to be very exciting, and end up looking today traditionally classic, but back in the day apparently really ugly. Ford invested $400 million into the car, which was introduced in 1957.
Is that the car?
Yeah.
That's a nice looking car.
I know. That's exactly what people today think.
Yeah.
But Americans literally weren't buying it because they wanted smaller, more affordable vehicles. Other people blame that Ford's failures on Ford's Motors execs never really defined the model's niche in the car market. The pricing and market aim of most Edsel models were somewhere between the highest end Ford and the lowest end Mercury, and was taken off the market 3 years later.
So this is my area here, right?
That's what I was hoping you'd comment.
First, a quick correction. Edsel was Ford's son.
Ford's son.
Yeah.
Who would Edsel? I mean,
Yeah. This is one of these things I hate where people write articles who don't really actually know much about cars.
Okay.
So like they said, one of the problems with it was Americans wanted smaller cars.
Yeah.
And some Americans did, and Ford had the Falcon, and that took off in 1960. But in 1960, they also released the Galaxy Starliner, which was like 17 feet and change.
That's huge.
Right?
2 doors, right?
Yeah, think of the Cadillacs from the early 60s, and those stayed huge all the way up into the mid-70s, really the late 70s even. So that's just like not even a thing. It didn't sell well, I think, because that nose is funky looking.
Partly. I like it.
Well, I like it now because it's kind of weird and retro.
Right.
But I think at the time, when you look at like the 57 Ford the year before, or even the 58 and 59, they have much cleaner lines. And the other thing is, it's not entirely a failure because they came out with a series of motors for this car, the FEs, which stood for Ford Edsel, and they ran those motors all the way up into the 70s. And they're fantastic motors. They were really strong. They ended up using them in trucks instead of the cars a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And they were really just great motors. First motor I ever rebuilt actually was an FE.
Really?
So
my question for you is are these cars now highly collectible?
sort of. Like with certain people, they are.
Well,
Because I mean, anything that goes wonky when it comes out, you're always going to get a following
Correct.
somewhere.
but is it because
It's
if
the
it's a failure?
DeLorean effect.
Yeah,
Because it's a
exactly.
failure, did they potentially not produce very
Well,
many, and so they're
They didn't sell a lot, so there's not a lot around.
right?
Right. And also because they are kind of odd looking,
Yeah,
but also, just some people think they're cool.
The
Like,
story.
I mean, you look at it and say, hey, that looks cool. Some people think the same and they just go and buy one.
Where did it fall? I mean, when they say they priced it higher, and where did it fall in the line of cars as far as performance? Like, what were they trying to? Was this supposed to be fast, or was it supposed to be a cruiser?
Everything was getting a little bit faster, but I mean, the muscle cars really didn't come into their own until the mid 60s.
Okay,
So it is.
Wasn't a muscle
It was
car,
kind of
yeah.
a weird era for cars, though, too, because like
Yeah.
late 50s, you don't see a ton of late 50s classic cars, right?
you're right,
When you think about it,
right.
you just see like 40s, early 50s, and then a lot of 60s cars. So late 50s.
It reminds me, is
an
it-
odd time?
It reminds me of Ford Fairlane. Is it the same size?
Yes, about.
Reminds me
Maybe
a lot
a
of
little
a
bit
Ford
bigger.
Fairlane, maybe just like
Yeah.
a nicer version. So, I like failed car stories. That's kind of fun.
So DeLoreans must really delight you.
Yeah,
Like Tuckers.
Yeah. Tuckers are super fascinating. Tuckers are that would be an incredible find. But I think they're all accounted for, either destroyed or worth $5 million.
How about the Jesus car?
I don't know what
I
that
believe it
is.
was a French car. It was actually
Oh.
called Jesus.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What about the Disciples car?
The DeLorean is a
Was it one accord?
the DeLorean is kind of a failure all around, because even I guess not really. I mean, if you think about it, ironically, I mean, I remember in high school a kid had one, and we talked. A friend of my friend had one, paid $5,000 for it. I mean, now they're worth like you can buy one can't buy one for less than 40. But that's not it, and that's so they can
If you
collectible
want
so
a modern
quickly.
day failure car, which is actually really an awesome car, get the Nissan Cube.
I like the Cube. I
Well,
wouldn't call that a
it's-
failure.
No, it commercially failed. They don't even
Yeah.
sell them
Oh,
anymore.
they don't make them anymore.
Well, they don't make them for Americans. It was designed for urban Japanese cities, and then
Yeah.
they thought Americans might like this, so they brought it to America.
Oh,
Didn't sell like they wanted. It went right back to Japan.
I like cars that are polarizing.
Yeah,
I drive a Fiat,
2004
so
I think 2014 was the last model of Cube.
I mean, I
for
wouldn't
America.
own a Cube, but I mean, I don't see.
My mother-in-law
'Cause they're too
owned
slow
owned
for
one,
me.
and it was awesome.
Yeah,
An
they're cool.
awesome vehicle.
1975 Sony Betamax. This is in a long line of competing technology failures, right?
Where the failure is by far the better medium.
Yeah.
Laser disc.
You could say that because it didn't
Can I play this on my
successfully.
CD player?
Dude, Laserdisc were sweet. My uncle had one, and I remember checking them out, and I thought
RoboCop on
they were
laser
the coolest
disc.
thing. In 1970, there was a war in home formats between Betamax and VHS. Sony made a mistake. It started selling the Betamax in 1975, while its rivals started releasing VHS machines around the same time. Sony kept Betamax proprietary, meaning the market for VHS company quickly outpaced.
Sony has made that
Sony.
mistake many times.
Why was
Many
Betamax
times.
superior? This is the only information I have on it. And
Oh,
I'm not
it
very-
was visual. It was first of all smaller,
okay.
and visually and audio. The video
Higher
and audio
quality.
were higher quality. Like,
But it was
without
also
debate.
shorter tapes.
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't hold as much.
Right.
So you maybe needed 2 for large movies in 1975.
Yeah, I think, what was the time restriction? I think it was actually slightly shorter than a full movie, wasn't it?
Really,
Or
I
it
didn't
was
know
right
that.
around there.
Well, that would be
But I
annoying.
mean, but it was also not uncommon even to have movies with 2 VHS tapes. Your movies that are over 2 hours, we would always split up the VHS tapes. You used to get those double VHS tape packages.
yeah, I kind of see.
Yeah.
I just saw a video on HD VHS.
HD VHS.
Yeah, it was a very short-lived technology, but the guy was like, I think it was Engineering Explained or something YouTube channel. He was taking apart some HD VHS players and talking about how they worked, and
Sounds awful.
it was 1080i and it was VHS, and it was just it was right when the HD DVDs were coming out, and they weren't quite sure it was going to work. Chris can find some more information on that.
The beta had higher resolution. Ooh, superior picture.
Okay. They just didn't have as many movies, so people
It was
just
proprietary. That was the problem.
Yeah.
Sony has done this many times. Like, for example, when Flash memory was coming out.
Sony memory stick.
The Duo Stick, right?
Yeah, Duo
and
Stick.
they made it proprietary, which meant it was expensive.
Couldn't be made by Kingsford or whatever.
Right, which meant it was an expensive technology, and because the market couldn't figure out a way to make it cheaper,
Right.
And so then its competitors got cheaper quickly.
Right. Well, you could only they only worked with Sony products.
So here it
Right.
is. Sony in 1975 decided to limit Betamax's maximum recording time to 1 hour.
Oh, jeez.
That's so stupid when like
Yeah.
every movie is at least 90 minutes long.
So surprising he hit his microphone. Or also the Sony UMD disc. Another thing that they...
Sony mini disc. Remember those?
Right, yeah.
What was UMD?
Similar concept. The UMD was for more than just movies. It was like video games as well.
Okay.
But the PSP used
Yeah,
the UMD.
okay.
But it was very similar to the mini disc, which is it was basically a little disc in some kind of a casing.
Those were cool.
And
Yeah, I always thought those would be the future.
yeah,
when I
those
was
were
young.
cool, and they could have been maybe not permanently the future, but they could have been the top dog for a while.
Right.
But again, proprietary, and Sony just Sony's weird like that. What they do is they put out things that are almost always proprietary,
And very good.
and 4 out of 5 times they fail, but then that 1 out of 5 times justifies the next 10 years of sales, right?
I guess so.
Blu-ray.
We're
is
gonna
one of
we're gonna
those.
get into that.
Sure.
Save it.
Save it.
1985 New Coke. Classic failure. I don't know.
Or was it?
Okay, Coke was losing ground to Pepsi in the early 80s, so it tried to create a product that would taste more like Pepsi. Fail
Ugh.
automatically.
Yeah, big fail.
While New Coke fared okay in nationwide taste tests before launch, it turned out those tests were misleading. Coke abandoned the product after only a few weeks and went back to the original
Coca-Cola.
formula, calling it Coca-Cola Classic.
And then they won the market.
Which is cool because the failure ended up helping them become more successful in the long run. So was it really a failure? I always wonder what New Coke tastes like, right? Because even Coke and Pepsi are similar, but really different if you taste
They're
them back
very
to back.
different.
It's funny to think that New Coke was the only Coke. That was the fail, I think. I think that right now they have different varieties of Coke, and that seems to work for them. But I would be upset. I don't drink soda. I drink soda very rarely. For them to just change the way Coke tastes forever.
Right.
That was how they market it. Like, this is new Coke. This
you
is
know-
how it's going to taste. And people said, why would you change a drink that I like?
Do you know there's a difference between American Coke and the rest of the world's Coke?
Well, I do like the all-natural sugar Cokes.
Right. So if you other than the glass Coke, if you get American Coke in a 2-liter bottle or in a can or whatever, the primary sweetener is high fructose corn syrup.
Right.
If you get Coke elsewhere in elsewhere in the world, it's real sugar instead of high fructose corn syrup. And if you want the what we'll call the international Coke in America, you have to buy it in a glass bottle.
Right. Or Mexico. Coke is imported from Mexico.
Right, and because it's international.
Right.
And that's the Coke I love.
Yeah.
I love that.
Can you taste
Coke.
the difference? If we did a blind taste tasting with
Yeah,
sugar
you can.
Coke and corn syrup.
100%.
Because they used to sell the glass bottle Dr. Peppers at the Hub. You remember the Hub? The good old days?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you can totally, even the Dr. Pepper, it
Yeah.
tastes completely different with the cane sugar.
I'm surprised that Coke hasn't done that throwback thing yet that Pepsi's doing with making Pepsi with real sugar. I don't know why Coke isn't trying that. If anything, that would be a really good vintage thing. 1989, 1992, similar time, Pepsi Crystal. And Pepsi AM, which I don't know what Pepsi
remember
AM is.
Pepsi Crystal.
Nectar of the gods.
You don't or do?
I do.
Oh my gosh, I
Sugar
was so
water.
I
Ugh.
hated Pepsi, but when Pepsi Crystal came out, I went and bought that every
Man,
chance
they
I got.
spent a lot pushing it too. Remember
Yeah.
the Super Bowl ads and
Crystal
they went all
Gravy.
out.
Remember Crystal Gravy? That was an
No, I
SNL.
don't.
That was a classic SNL skit right when Crystal Pepsi came out. They had this fake commercial for Crystal Gravy. It was clear gravy, and they poured all over mashed potatoes and turkey, and they had chunks in it.
I remember being amazed that they could make Pepsi clear.
Yes. I just how did they do
Yeah,
that?
and I was in 4th grade when I first was introduced to Pepsi Crystal, living in Oceanside, and one of my neighbors, the young boy, claimed wholeheartedly that his father invented that for Pepsi. And I wasn't sure what to believe.
Invented taking out one ingredient. In 1989, Pepsi tried to target breakfast cola drinkers with Pepsi AM.
Oh, like people like myself.
Probably. It only lasted a year, and then tried again, this time with clear cola, Crystal Pepsi, no dice. It died at night. Here's what I don't get. I don't know anyone who didn't like Crystal Pepsi. I don't really get why it didn't work.
I've heard rumors that Crystal Pepsi might be coming back.
I guess it just didn't, when you had to choose, I'm excited about that, by the way, because I'll buy Pepsi one more time. If you had to choose between Pepsi and Crystal Pepsi, why does it matter? So I think maybe, did they really plan on it lasting forever? Was it just a sales
Yeah, who
temporary
knows?
thing? I mean, everyone I tried liked it.
Maybe it was cutting into the primary product,
Right.
and sometimes that develops fear in a company.
Yeah, right. Sales went down of the original. Okay, 1993, Apple Newton. The Newton is held up as an example of Apple's bad old days before it was the world's
Bad
most
old
valuable
days.
company. Forbes says the Newton PDA, which is a personal digital assistant, flopped for a number of reasons. It was $700, 8 inches tall, 4.5 inches wide, and its handwriting recognition was so bad that a classic Simpsons episode made fun of it. Apple Newton, if this picture, if you're confused, it's kind of like a 1993 PDA. I mean, I don't want to say the word smartphone because of lack of a better word, but a little small computer. Gosh, $700 in 93 was like $1,000 or more today. I don't know why it failed. Probably because it was an early product. James, you had a little...
'Cause you could
Yeah,
buy an
actually, I was
iPad for
confusing
that now?
products. You said Newton. I was thinking to myself the Apple Pippin. Do you know about the Apple Pippin? That's another great failure. I'm surprised it
Just
isn't mentioned.
barely.
It was an Apple video game console.
Oh.
And it was a huge failure. In fact, it was such a terrible failure and such a black eye to Apple's reputation back then. That's why Steve Jobs refused to do anything with the video game market, even when the iPhone was becoming arguably the most prolific video game system ever made. They were like, Apple wasn't investing in video games in any way for
Okay.
the iPhone because Steve Jobs had such a sour taste in his mouth from the Apple Pippin. And the
Did it go to
detail-
market and fail or never make it to market?
It made it to market, and here's the thing. Here's your interesting fact about the Apple Pippin. Halo was originally supposed to be an Apple Pippin game, and when the Pippin was trashed quickly before the game could come out, Microsoft picked up the rights to release it themselves.
And it basically launched the Xbox.
Exactly.
What's wrong with Apple Pippin? Sounds sweet.
I don't know. It was just junk, I think. Just junk.
Just terrible.
In-depth analysis.
Just terrible.
And Halo, when it was first being developed, if anybody who's played the first Halo, there's a lot of outdoor areas in the first Halo, quite a few. And that's because originally they wanted Halo to be a real-time strategy game where you could control the action from an aerial view, but then zoom into the eyes of any soldier and then get into the battle.
Yeah, and that's
And what
not at
they've-
all what the game was, anyways. But
Right, and what they found was people just kept zooming in and didn't care
playing
about
like
the
that.
aerial view. So they're like, we'll forget that. But that's why when you play the first Halo, first of all, most of the game is open areas, outside areas, and also you're always with teams of people in the first Halo game, right?
Okay.
And that's because originally it was supposed to be teams of people.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right, so I got a few things here for you if you guys care.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they licensed the Pippin to Bandai.
Okay.
Mistake number one.
Yeah, then Bandai spent $93 million marketing it. But per the licensing agreement, Bandai was not allowed to use the term computer when marketing it because Apple didn't want it confused with their other products. So then they released it when the Sega Saturn and the PlayStation were out.
Okay.
And Apple wasn't able to get any other third parties on.
For game producers, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they priced it at $5.99 at launch
Here's a picture of it. Wow.
in 1996.
Yeah, and you can go on YouTube and look up videos of Steve Jobs introducing this new thing called Halo and showing like very early footage, early development footage of what they're doing for the Pippin.
Because Marty O'Donnell actually wrote the theme song practically on the way to the event to debut it. I saw an interview where he's joking
It's like,
about it.
Ba 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 ba.
Yeah.
I bet
mean,
these
it
things
was
are
really, like,
expensive on
last minute.
eBay. Just Apple fanboys buying them all up, just being like, the coolest system ever. You guys don't know what you're missing. Okay, so here's a failed product. It says one of the most expensive at $100 million, but we just read that Ford Edsel spent $400 million. Ford spent $400 million in 1957. 1996, McDonald's introduced the Arch Deluxe.
Oh, I remember that.
It never caught on. It was intended to appeal to urban sophisticates. That's slightly offensive. Trigger word. Okay. Outside of its target demographic, to reach this group, McDonald's spent $100 million, which makes it one of the most expensive product flops in history. I don't remember that. I do remember the Big and Tasty. Was that?
Yeah, the Big and Nasty. Yeah, I remember
The
that.
Big and Tasty is something else.
Do you have any other McDonald's product flops that you can think of?
No, I love their spaghetti, but that's only international McDonald's. Yeah, mixed spaghetti. It's great.
Royale with cheese.
Remember the
You can get fried chicken at McDonald's in the Philippines.
you can get not in non-nugget form.
You can get
No, yeah,
beer
like
in
actual-
Europe at your McDonald's.
What about the McDonald's salads in the cup that you could shake?
Oh, the parfaits.
those? Are kind of neat.
No, the
no
salads.
salads.
They had actual salads.
Yeah.
Oh,
I liked those.
But
When
they
I
were
was-
like 800 calorie salads or something.
Yeah,
like
they were
Yeah.
called shakers or something.
Yeah, they
'Cause-
just put it in a cup with a domed lid, and you
And
could
then
shake
you
the
shake it.
dressing. They were
Yeah.
they were fine. I mean, they were 800 calories because they put a lot of salad dressing. 1997 Orbit's soda.
I can't believe I forgot about those, and because I forgot about them, they're definitely gone forever. But those
do you
are
remember
really
those?
great.
No, that I don't remember.
Here,
at all.
take a look. The picture of the
just
sodas with
go
the
there.
little floating balls inside of them.
Yeah, little floaters.
People said they were disgusting and taste like cough syrup. I do remember not liking them because they weren't carbonated. They were just kind of like a fruit punch
Oh yeah,
drink.
yeah. I didn't realize that was a soda.
Yeah, I'm okay. I guess
I
it's
mean,
not a
I
soda.
just realized. I mean, I remember seeing them around, and
Guess I'll just have to drink Goldschlager instead.
but I mean, you can still get boba, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, boba's a little different than this. I mean,
Okay.
But I mean,
well,
if you like stuff floating around in your drink,
well, yeah, but boba's something that it falls to the bottom and you have to chew it.
Yeah.
Where these were these really floaty, you could kind of just swallow right down.
yeah, you
That's
couldn't even if you
objects.
tried to chew on them that you wouldn't. They
That's
just you
weird.
couldn't even feel them really.
Yeah.
There's a couple more good ones, but we'll end on this one. HD DVD.
Yeah.
So that was I don't know who owned HD DVD, but it was marketed.
I got a tragic story for you. My mother-in-law was in the market to go to the next level with her television viewing, and she didn't know if she should go HD DVD or she should go Blu-ray.
Did you steer her the wrong way?
So I was like, "What?" Well, Sony was in charge of the Blu-ray. I knew Sony's history.
Yeah.
I was like, "Well, that's not gonna work out."
This
And-
ain't
Betamax all
Yeah,
over again.
right. And then I looked at what publishing companies, what production companies were publishing for HD DVD, and for a while they had most of them, including Warner Brothers, which is a big deal. Whoever gets Warner Brothers often wins, among other types of
You
companies.
did your due diligence, James.
And so I was like, HD DVD all the way. Let's do this. She got an HD DVD player, bought a bunch of HD DVD movies, and then like 3 months later, Warner Brothers announced they were switching to Blu-ray,
Oh.
and the whole thing fell apart.
man.
And I was like, I'm so sorry, Sharon. I wasted a lot of your money.
Wow.
Yeah.
I went with Blu-ray because I had a PS3, and the thing is that I was never into physical copies of movies that much. I just knew I'm not a futurist. It doesn't take hard to picture that they would just be digital. Like we wouldn't have to buy DVDs anymore because I could download a piece of software on my computer. I would someday be able to download a movie.
Right.
But because I had a PlayStation 3 and because Netflix didn't charge anything extra for Blu-ray movies, back in the day in my college dorm room in 2004, I mean, we're all watching crazy HD definition, high definition movies on Blu-ray on a 50-inch Sony
I remember those
TV.
days.
Yeah.
I remember
and-
sneaking into your dorm room to watch those movies.
Yeah, no one even had HD. I mean, it just allowed me to get into HD and basically enjoy HD way before anyone else wanted to invest the money or would or even commit to either one of the others. Who cares about committing? Let's just watch them because I have a PS3.
Yeah.
So I think you guys have a different theory. I equate Blu-ray winning out because PS3 was a success, console-wise. They already had an HD high definition. I don't want to say HD DVD. They already committed to one of them by including the Blu-ray with it. Because of that, supposedly the PS3s at the beginning cost well over $1,000 for Sony to make, and they sold
Yeah.
them for $600. So to take a loss on everyone, I think knowing they would just get a Blu-ray player into people's homes.
Right.
You guys have another theory you want to share?
Nope.
Fair enough. So that concludes our product flops. There are actually a lot more, some a little bit more modern, including some things from Google and some things from Facebook. That'll be for another segment. But if you have any more thoughts on some other product flops, don't be shy and share them with us. If you own one, and maybe let's say Microsoft Zune, for example, you can take a picture of it when it's doing what it is now, maybe
With your
a paperweight.
Google Glass.
I owned 2 Zunes. I had the first and second gen of that.
I don't think they were bad, but
They were pretty good.
They just didn't work.
They weren't as stylish. And they
It didn't
didn't
click.
I tell you what. I tell you what it was. They didn't have that thumb wheel thing.
Yeah. Thumbnail
They
was
had a
cool.
really trashy button clicker
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Speaking of trashy, James has a top topic.
Is it? Is it 20
20
questions
questions.
that's trashy, or is it James Yule that's trashy?
I'll let our friends of the podcast decide.
All right. Maybe the answer to 20 questions. Your clue for the day is entertainment.
All right. Is it a person?
Yes.
Oh.
Dang it. I wish you got save that for like third question at least.
Clue could have been. Let's just take that as a clue. Is it a actor?
Yes.
James.
Yeah, we're doing good today. Is this actor alive?
Yes.
Is this actor male?
Yes. Dang it. Wow. Okay.
Are you keeping count?
I am.
Primarily in movies.
If primarily no.
Okay. Is it a? Should we confirm if it's a TV actor?
I mean, I guess.
I mean, it could be a YouTube actor. I don't know.
I was gonna say Broadway.
Yeah.
let's-
we all know a bunch of Broadway actors.
Let's save the TV one.
All right.
In
yeah.
case we're like, what? Wait a second. What's happening here?
I guess we could narrow down genre.
Yeah.
A comedic actor.
Yes. Dang. You guys are killing it tonight.
Did this actor have a stint on Saturday Night Live?
No.
That's a good.
That
That's a
is,
good question because a lot of them got
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Are you sure?
Comedic actor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
I would.
I had
know.
to think about it, but I'm pretty sure the answer is clear on that.
Did they have a well-known, long-running like TV show, like one series that they're associated with? So, like an example of who I'm thinking would be like a Tim Taylor.
Well, the answer to that is mostly yes.
Okay,
Probably been in a lot of other things, but
Tim Allen. Excuse me, not Tim Taylor.
Yeah.
One
I
in
thought
the-
of Tim Allen
one
when
in
you
the
said
same.
Tim Taylor.
Yeah.
Is this show that they're known for still on the air?
No.
Does this actor also have a stand-up comedian career
Yes.
or presence? I mean,
That's 10 questions.
so we got like Jerry Seinfeld. I mean, we got Tim Allen. I mean, he didn't. We
Yeah.
didn't seem like that was it because we didn't get any awkward looks.
We were talking about Festivus earlier, though.
I know, but I think he already had it. But yeah, Jim Gaffigan, but he's not known for a TV show. He's known for stand-up.
Yeah.
We assuming it's male, but we asked the question, does he? And then he said,
So we asked if it was.
I believe you asked that.
Oh wait, we did. Oh,
Yeah.
It was one of the long series of yeses you got.
is this actor currently on a TV show that's currently picked up by a network?
No, to my knowledge.
Is.
And I'm pretty sure it's a no. Like, I'm leaving room there to be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not wrong.
Does this actor collect cars?
No.
All right.
Actually, it does narrow it down a bit.
Yeah, Jerry Seinfeld, Tim Taylor, Tim Allen,
Jay
Jay
Leno.
Leno.
Yeah. Let's see.
12 questions asked.
Is this actor white?
No. See, now you've set up for some awkward questions.
Yeah, not really, but I mean that. It just narrows it down.
Narrows it down.
TV show made him famous, but also does stand up. Not Caucasian.
Like a Dave Chappelle, or
Yeah, I mean his TV show that made him famous would be what?
we could add. We could. Was his show a sitcom?
No.
Oh, okay. Dave Chappelle's wasn't, right? It was more,
Right,
of,
it was a
it's more of a
sketch.
sketch show.
Thing.
Uh,
Who else we got? Fred Armisen. And,
yeah, Fred Armisen was on SNL.
oh yeah, that's right. Forgot that question. Who else had sketch shows or fake news shows? David Allen Greer had like a fake news kind of thing for a while.
Yeah, I don't really know who it is.
That guy's hilarious.
I
And he
mean,
was on In Living Color.
I know that I would know him if I saw his picture.
Keenan Ivory Wayans.
Right?
That's a heck of a throwback, though. Be a little bit obscure.
I mean, is James a big fan of
I don't know.
Chappelle Show?
Was his show on in the 90s?
The show?
Yes.
No.
Was it Dave Chappelle?
Yes. You could have had that like 3 or 4 questions ago.
Well, we had room, so we wouldn't be sure.
I thought
Yeah.
of Dave Chappelle because of the recent news about Prince.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I really liked
Charlie
Prince.
Murphy.
I don't want to pretend like I was a huge Prince fan, but he was a great musician, and he had songs I didn't care for, but he also had great songs. And Dave Chappelle, famous for playing him on his sketch television show, The Dave Chappelle Show, and the basis for that sketch is, as Chris mentioned, Charlie Murphy, Eddie Murphy's brother, Charlie Murphy.
Right.
As Eddie Murphy made it big in front of the camera, Charlie Murphy was a director, writer, producer behind the camera, and because of his brother, got to smooze with a lot of interesting people, gather interesting stories. And for the Dave Chappelle Show, they would employ him to tell some of the stories from his past, and one of those involved getting beat by Prince at a basketball game, and then Prince making him pancakes afterward.
Would Dave Chappelle reenact these stories?
Yeah, so Charlie Murphy would be
As every
telling the
character?
story, and then
Reenacting
Dave
as
Chappelle would be
himself.
reenacting.
Charlie Murphy and Prince and other
No,
characters?
Dave Chappelle would be Prince, and then
Okay.
Charlie Murphy would be like younger Charlie Murphy.
Okay.
Right.
okay.
It's like they put a wig on him and stuff.
Yeah,
I've seen some of the sketches. I
a
didn't-
Jerry Curl wig.
Yeah.
I didn't realize the origin. That's funny. Well, good. If you think that Faith and Whatever would ever mention Dave Chappelle, then you would be right, because we just did tonight.
Exactly.
I don't know if we're recommending the show, but it is funny at times, just like our show. So
You should always be discerning with what you watch. If you are comfortable with certain types of humor, then Dave Chappelle might be for you. And if that's not something you want to watch, then just don't. Simple as that.
as Chris says, it's all in the middle, not the middle, balance.
Balance.
Well-balanced life, everything in moderation.
Eating
the
breakfast.
The Dave Chappelle
Well
show.
balanced breakfast. That's
Of
the
soda.
key to life.
Of soda,
Of Pepsi.
of Pepsi.
Yeah.
Soda and donuts. Breakfast of champions.
I mean, as long as the drink mentions the morning or AM time, it's
Apparently
got to
it's
be good for
acceptable.
you in the morning.
I one more last failed product, Coca-Cola Black.
Oh, I don't remember that.
It was Coke with coffee in it.
Ah.
It was in a tiny little 10-ounce glass bottle. It was not very good, and it was fully released and sampled and kind of fun to try. Apparently, no one's heard of it. Apparently, it was from Europe, but see, they just say that to get you to think it's okay.
I guess
for
it's
them.
better than when they dyed all the or the hamburger buns and made people sick.
Coke did?
No, was it Burger King or Carl's Jr.?
Well, Burger King had the black burger.
Yeah.
Which
Or we didn't even mention the potato chips. Remember with the fat substitute that gave
Oh.
everyone
Was it Olestein? Or
Elesta. was it?
Alestra? Alestra?
Gave uncontrollable bowel movements. We'll say.
No, it was oily discharge.
Yeah.
Oh, both of those are bad.
So like radio shows would order a case of them and like all sit there eating them, watching
my
each other.
gosh.
Or they did on
Olestra.
Kevin and Bean.
Man.
Oh.
Well, on that note, I want to thank you for listening to our radio show, our podcast. Will not be any oily discharge as long as we can help it.
Maybe uncontrollable bowel movement.
Well, Josh isn't here, so there was no burp tonight. You can check out everything Faith and Whatever at faithandwhatever.com. You can check out our Twitter feed at faithinwhatever. You can follow Chris at Marion Ranch on Twitter, James at JamesYuile, Josh at Josh_Carmen, myself at TStudentLife. We thank you for joining us on our 14th episode. Please subscribe to our videos on YouTube, to our channel, like them. You can download our podcast on iTunes or any other places that you download podcasts, your Android apps, and different things.
Also, tweet at Garrett that he needs to do a food show.
I want to do a food show.
Demand it. Use your voice. Sit in
Faith and it
in
could be
front of his office until he does it.
I'm going to get you arrested. Faith and Food, or Faith and Whatever and Food. Food and Whatever.
F&W Food and Brew.
All right, food
See,
and
it's
brew.
so easy to say.
I like food and whatever, but maybe that's not close enough to faith and whatever. Yeah, that would be cool. We could do some different tours of different restaurants and food items and go out in the wild. We hope to be expanding some of our content
This summer, look for
this
it.
summer. Hopefully get out of this beautiful space just for the sake of creative content. Not that we don't like recording at Marion Ranch, but it's so beautiful in Southern California, we might as well get outside and film something.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for that, and if you want to make sure you don't miss out on anything, then you can subscribe, and we'll make sure we keep you in the loop. Thanks for
Good
watching.
night.